Ever notice how, past 35, most people just stop dreaming? It's not a lack of desire, but a deeply ingrained belief that it's too late for a significant life overhaul. What if I told you that your perceived reality is merely a reflection of a repetitive mental script, a subconscious program dictating your actions? What if, by daring to challenge those ingrained rules, you could rewrite your life's story, regardless of age? Sounds crazy, right? That's precisely what I'm going to show you. For years, I chased the same results, trapped in a vicious cycle, a mental maze. I changed jobs, environments, but the core issue remained unchanged. Maybe you relate, feeling stuck in a relentless loop of the familiar. It's not about age, it's about something deeper, your paradigm. This paradigm, a collection of beliefs and habits ingrained since childhood, acts as a silent puppet master, guiding you like an automaton. You think you're making free choices, but 95% of your daily decisions are predetermined by this mental program. Isn't it fascinating to consider that this invisible pattern might be holding your aspirations hostage? I've seen incredibly smart people, with impressive resumes, struggling financially, frustrated, feeling unrecognized. Conversely, I've known individuals with limited formal education who built empires and positively impacted the world. What's the difference? It's not intelligence, effort, or luck, it's the paradigm. It silently dictates whether you'll thrive or stagnate, even if you're working incredibly hard. Think about it. How many times have you tried to save money only to have unforeseen expenses wipe out your savings? Or started a diet with gusto, only to fall back into old habits? It's not a lack of willpower, it's the paradigm resisting change. Forged over a lifetime through genetics, upbringing, and those childhood phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or, that's not for people like us, it creates an invisible barrier in your mind. I remember the moment I realized I was trapped in this mental prison. I was a Toronto firefighter, underpaid and unfulfilled. My colleagues were resigned, convinced this was their inevitable fate. I felt the same. Then, I read, Think and Grow Rich, and something shifted. I realized it wasn't my external circumstances, but my unconscious beliefs and habits driving my choices. Admitting this was painful, but liberating. Now, consider this, is your paradigm telling you it's too late to start over at 35? Studies show most people in that age group accept their lives as is, without hope of change. Research from Stanford revealed that over 60% of adults believe their capacity for radical life transformation diminishes with age. That's a lie. The brain retains neuroplasticity, its ability to form new neural connections, well into old age. The problem isn't the brain, it's the paradigm. So, the crucial question, how many opportunities have you missed because your paradigm whispered, that's not for you? How many dreams have been postponed due to perceived risk or lack of time? Most people fail not from trying and failing, but from never even trying, because of their paradigm. Understanding this, I realized it wasn't my job, education, or past that dictated my future, but this mental program. Only by questioning these invisible rules, by stepping outside the patterns, did my life take a dramatically different course. The truth is, we all carry paradigms that keep us in places we haven't consciously chosen. But at any moment, you can question and challenge those patterns. You can observe yourself and realize that the real enemy isn't age, time, or circumstances. The real enemy is the paradigm you've unconsciously accepted. Breaking that invisible rule is the first step to reinventing your life. Everything in the universe is constantly changing, nothing remains static, including your body. It vibrates at high speed all the time, even at rest. If you could look through a powerful microscope, you'd see your cells pulsating, vibrant with energy. This vibration isn't just biological, it's mental and emotional. The thoughts you nurture determine your body's vibrational frequency, and that frequency attracts experiences in harmony with it. How many times have you woken up worried about debt or unresolved problems, and the day seemed to conspire against you? Traffic jams, workplace issues, unexpected news stole your peace. It's not bad luck, you started the day in a negative vibration, and the universe responded in kind. Conversely, have you experienced the opposite, waking up excited, grateful, confident, and everything flowed harmoniously? Friendlier people, opportunities appearing, even finding a parking space seemed easy. It wasn't coincidence, it was vibration. Science supports this. Research shows that emotions like gratitude and joy generate more coherent and balanced brainwaves, even impacting the immune system. Financial stress, according to the American Psychological Association, affects over 70% of adults and is a major cause of chronic anxiety. This means most people live tuned into a frequency of worry, scarcity, and fear. And by being on that vibration, they attract more situations reinforcing those feelings. I experienced this firsthand during pivotal moments. There were times when I felt constantly lacking, believing money would never be enough. During those periods, unforeseen problems seemed to constantly arise: urgent repairs, unexpected bills, endless expenses. It felt like the world was determined to keep me financially struggling. Only later did I understand it wasn't the world against me, but the vibration I was fueling daily. By consciously changing my thoughts, focusing on what I wanted instead of what I feared, the results began to shift. It's crucial to understand that your conscious mind receives a constant flow of formless energy. You can shape this energy into positive or negative thoughts. If you shape it into thoughts of scarcity, your vibration will be one of scarcity. If you shape it into thoughts of abundance, you'll begin to vibrate at that frequency. But there's a crucial detail: you can only maintain a positive vibration if it aligns with your paradigm. That's why many people make positive affirmations, try to think big, but soon give up because they feel uncomfortable. The conscious mind repeats the phrase, "I am prosperous," but the paradigm, programmed with scarcity, creates an internal conflict that destroys the positive energy. It's like tuning a radio station. You can't hear classical music if the dial is set to a rock station. Similarly, you won't attract prosperity while vibrating at the frequency of lack. This explains why so many talented, hardworking people live frustrated. They strive, but remain on a low frequency, dominated by worries and limiting beliefs. Imagine the impact of this law on all areas of your life. If you're in a relationship and fear being abandoned, your vibration is one of insecurity, and that will be reflected in the relationship. If you work in a negative environment, that collective vibration influences your performance and opportunities. But if you consciously choose to maintain a high vibration, cultivating gratitude, confidence, and a clear vision of what you want, you will inevitably attract people, situations, and resources aligned with that new frequency. And here's the truth that can change everything: you have power over your vibration. You can wake up and choose, even amidst difficulties, to nurture thoughts that elevate your energy. You can decide not to let scarcity dominate your mind. This doesn't mean ignoring reality, but creating a new reality from the frequency you choose to vibrate at. And when you understand this, you realize nothing is coincidence. Everything is in harmony with the vibration you sustain. And if you change the vibration, you change your life. Many people have brilliant ideas, bold dreams, and a desire for radical life change, but when it's time to act, a near-paralyzing fear takes over. This fear isn't rational, it's not based on facts, but on years of mental programming. It's the paradigm saying, "That's not for you." Think about how many times you've imagined quitting a job you hate, starting your own business, moving to a new city, or investing in something transformative. Why didn't you do it? Because the very thought triggered an uncomfortable vibration in your body, as if you were in danger. This discomfort occurs because the idea isn't in harmony with the paradigm you carry. If you grew up hearing that stability means working in the same place your whole life, that taking risks is foolish, that money is hard to earn, every thought that contradicts that foundation will trigger an internal alarm. So when a different idea arises, what I call a why idea, it's frightening. Like deciding to sell your house to invest in your own business. The idea isn't impossible, but since it doesn't align with your mental pattern, the paradigm activates fear, insecurity, and anxiety. I experienced this firsthand. When I decided to leave the fire department to start my cleaning company, everything seemed to scream that I was making a mistake. I had no experience, specific training, or guarantees. But I had a decision: I didn't want to live the rest of my life trapped by a limiting program. It was uncomfortable, without a doubt. But that discomfort showed me I was stepping outside my paradigm, and that's where the transformation began. In my first year, I earned more money than I imagined, not through some magic formula, but by daring to challenge that internal programming. This same mechanism repeats itself in almost everyone. We see people with brilliant educations living with mediocre results, while others, without formal education, build financial empires. What separates these groups isn't knowledge or intelligence, but the courage to face the discomfort of stepping outside their paradigm. Research from Harvard Business School showed that over 70% of people stay in jobs they dislike out of fear of taking risks, even knowing they are unfulfilled. This data shows how the paradigm imprisons most people. The question is, do you want to continue on autopilot, repeating patterns you haven't consciously chosen, or are you willing to feel the temporary discomfort of challenging your own rules? Because all growth begins at that point of tension. There's no progress without facing fear. And here's the secret: fear isn't a sign to stop, it's a sign that you're on the border between the life you have and the life you want. So, when a bold idea arises, instead of rejecting it because it seems risky, ask yourself, is it the risk that scares me, or is it my paradigm trying to keep me in the familiar? That's the question that can open the door to a new reality. The danger isn't in taking risks, the real danger is never allowing yourself to leave the same place. There are stories that prove the paradigm can lead to either triumph or ruin. Oprah Winfrey was born into extremely difficult circumstances. She grew up in poverty, faced rejection, prejudice, and abuse, but decided not to be defined by her environment. She broke the mental cycle of scarcity and limitation and reprogrammed herself to believe in something greater. Oprah built an empire, influenced millions, and became a symbol of personal transformation. What changed? The paradigm. She didn't accept the patterns she inherited. On the other hand, there are examples of people who had everything to maintain success but failed because they never transformed their internal patterns. Mike Tyson, for example, earned millions young. He was unbeatable in the ring, but outside it, he carried destructive paradigms of violence, impulsiveness, and self-sabotage. His mentality didn't keep pace with his success, and the result was predictable: he lost almost all his fortune and had to start over. It's a warning that without changing the mental structure, no positive result is sustainable. These two stories illustrate a simple law: no matter where you start, or how much you achieve, if your paradigm doesn't change, the results will reflect the programming you carry. It's not morality or luck, it's a mental law. Oprah broke the invisible rules that limited her, and because of that, she grew beyond all expectations. Tyson kept the old patterns, and they brought him down. Now think about you. How many times have you started something and couldn't sustain it? Maybe you started a promising relationship but sabotaged it by repeating old behaviors. Or you got a good job, but fell back into stagnation. It's not because you weren't capable, it's because the old paradigm still controlled your actions. And if you don't become aware of this, you'll continue repeating the same cycle, regardless of opportunities. That's the big lesson: the paradigm is more powerful than talent, luck, and circumstances. It decides whether what you achieve will flourish or crumble. When you understand this, you realize it's not enough to just chase more money, status, or external achievements. Above all, you need to break the mental pattern that controls your results. Because, in the end, what sustains true and lasting success isn't external conditions, but what happens within your mind. There was a time when everything seemed small. I was stuck in dead-end jobs, living a limited life, believing that was my reality. Until a book fell into my hands, Think and Grow Rich. I didn't just read it, I devoured every page as if it were a secret map to escape where I was. It was as if a light had been turned on, revealing something that had always been there but that I had never seen: the possibility of reprogramming my own mind. From that moment on, I understood that my life wasn't determined by circumstances, luck, or a pre-written destiny. It was shaped by the ideas I chose to accept and repeat. And these ideas, when engraved strongly enough in my subconscious, transformed into new paradigms. I realized I could exchange a mental pattern of scarcity for one of abundance, one of limitation for one of growth. That's when I began to consciously experiment with reprogramming my mind. This doesn't happen automatically. The subconscious doesn't transform just because you want it to. It changes when you constantly feed it new images, new emotions, and new beliefs. It's like planting a seed. You need to water it every day, even if you don't see anything happening at first. Most people give up because they believe nothing is changing, but it's precisely in this invisible period that the transformation is consolidating. I discovered that the practice of visualizing, writing my goals daily, and repeating affirmations charged with emotion created a new vibration within me. At first, it seemed artificial, but over time, my body, my actions, and even my environment began to align with these new ideas. I no longer saw myself as that man limited by the past. I began to see myself as someone capable of creating wealth, impact, and freedom. And that's exactly what happened. The same can be done by anyone, at any age. Science proves this. Studies on neuroplasticity show that the human brain is capable of creating new connections until the last years of life. There's no age where it's too late to change. What exists is resistance to sustaining new practices until they become automatic. But if you persist, the brain reprograms itself, the body responds, and external reality begins to reflect this new programming. I always encourage people to test this in practice. Take a goal that truly motivates you, something that sparks enthusiasm, and write it down in detail. Make it a daily exercise for 7 consecutive days. Read this goal aloud every morning and every night, and while you read it, visualize yourself living that reality. Imagine the sounds, the smells, the colors, the people around you. The more vivid the image, the stronger the impact on your subconscious. At first, it may seem like just imagination. But believe me, this practice will begin to alter your vibration, and you'll notice new ideas, new opportunities, and even different people appearing in your path. The power to reprogram your mind lies in you taking control of what you think repeatedly. Because the mind doesn't choose for itself, it simply absorbs what you put into it every day. If you feed it worries, it repeats scarcity. If you feed it bold goals and images of abundance, you create a new paradigm. That's how I changed my life, and that's how anyone can change theirs. The secret lies in conscious repetition until the new pattern replaces the old. And when that happens, life is never the same. We all have invisible cages, self-imposed limitations masquerading as unshakable truths. These aren't conscious choices, but deeply ingrained beliefs, whispered into our minds until they become our personal dogma. Think of that limiting voice that tells you, this is all you deserve, a voice I once knew intimately, whispering that a predictable paycheck was my destiny. It kept me chained to a life I secretly yearned to escape. But here's the secret, those aren't truths, they are just old, worn-out scripts. And the most terrifying thing isn't failure, it's never even trying to rewrite the script. It's playing it safe, staying in the same old rut, waking up each day feeling like there's more, but never daring to step outside the lines. A Cornell study highlighted the regrets of the elderly, not their mistakes, but their missed opportunities. That's the real kicker. It's not the falls that break us, but the potential unrealized, the life unlived because of self-imposed restrictions. The truth is, transformation doesn't arrive with some magical strategy or perfect opportunity. It happens when you defy your own internal programming. It's the moment you decide your current job, your financial status, even your whole life, none of it is set in stone. You break free when you choose to tear up the old rule book. Doubt creeps in, of course, what if I fail? The beauty is, failure doesn't exist, only learning. Every leap outside your comfort zone is an investment in yourself. And the biggest risk isn't taking that leap, it's remaining a prisoner of your own mind. So, if there's a burning desire in your heart, don't wait for permission, for the perfect time, or the ideal circumstances. The only permission you need is your own. Start by rewriting your story, by acting, thinking, and feeling differently. It's not a sudden, magical shift, it's a gradual recalibration, a shift in energy and perspective. You are the architect of your own reality. The life you crave isn't found by waiting for time to pass, but by actively breaking free from your self-constructed prison. It starts within. Shift your inner landscape, and the external world will respond in kind. Ready to break those chains? Watch the video, it's the next step on your journey, a step towards becoming the best version of yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.